Banning fracking, banning drilling on federal land, banning the Keystone Pipeline, rejoining Paris Climate Accords. Will any of these actions hurt America? Oh yes. But at least they'll help the environment, right? No, not at all. Okay, do you remember this?
Have a transition from the oil industry, yes.
And what about this?
I am supporting the Green New Deal.
This?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were crystal clear on the campaign trail. Their top priority when they got into the White House would be destroying the oil and gas industry. Good paying jobs be damned. And that's exactly what they're doing. Let's go through these actions one at a time. Canceling the Keystone XL pipeline takes away thousands of union jobs in America over a 2-year period. And the left will try to equivocate, saying, well, these are just temporary construction jobs, trying to downplay the impact on everyday Americans. Try telling that to the union workers who are losing good income. Welders who work on a job like Keystone will work 6 days per week, 10-hour days or longer. They'll make up to $9,500 per week. Man, I'm in the wrong line of work. What should these workers do now that they've lost their jobs? Well, just ask John Kerry.
Fastest growing job in the United States before COVID was solar power technician. The same people can do those jobs, but the choice of doing the solar power one now is a better choice.
What John Kerry doesn't tell you is that renewable jobs pay significantly less than oil and gas jobs. Labor data shows solar and wind jobs pay about $20,000 less than oil and gas jobs on an annual basis. And even the Washington Post fact-checked John Kerry's favorite talking point about solar and wind jobs being the fastest growing in the US. As it turns out, fastest growing only means an increase of about 10,000 jobs over the course of 10 years. Not even a fraction of the total number of jobs that would be lost under the Biden agenda. In the Paris Agreement, we are giving a free pass to China while punishing businesses here at home that are already working to reduce emissions. China doesn't even reach their peak output until 2030 because they are given leeway as a developing nation. The United States has already cut emissions to 1992 levels before the pandemic. How? Natural gas, that's how, which President Biden wants to eliminate by banning fracking. As for China, China represents the largest portion of global emissions at nearly 30%. The US is less than 15%. Banning oil and gas drilling on federal lands will be the biggest blow. A drilling ban on federal lands and waters could cost the oil and gas industry up to 1 million jobs nationally by 2022, including 120,000 jobs here in Texas. This is a departure from the norm also. Under both President Obama and President Trump, the government approved at least 2 lease sales per year in the Gulf, where many of my constituents work. That's why I introduced a bill to override President Biden's executive order and return to a normal pace of approved leases on federal waters. Biden isn't just cutting off energy jobs with this ban. Energy production and the royalties from it are also an important source of funding for coastal conservation and hurricane preparedness. In places like New Mexico, it basically funds their entire education system. In fact, the Great American Outdoors Act, the historic bill President Trump signed into law to clean up our national parks, it uses funding from oil and gas leases to pay for the national parks maintenance backlog. But here is the real kicker. None of these moves will help the environment or do anything to combat climate change at all. Keystone XL was a net zero emissions pipeline, and removing the pipeline will simply force transport by other pipelines or by truck or by rail, which are less safe and less environmentally friendly. Banning oil and gas leases will just give polluters like Russia and Saudi Arabia the opportunity to meet global energy demand, which, by the way, will increase by around 25% over the next 20 years. Restricting our oil and gas production will just cede energy dominance to countries that don't adhere to the same environmental regulations we do. In fact, on a life cycle basis, Russian natural gas produced 40% more carbon emissions than American natural gas. The global demand won't change, and therefore neither will global emission levels. It's a high-cost proposition for us with no environmental benefit. Here's the bottom line. We don't need to destroy the economy or jobs or energy independence to help the environment. We can focus on innovative technologies like carbon capture to make natural gas plants more environmentally friendly. We should expand nuclear energy, our only baseload energy source that is zero emissions. And we can make sure that global energy demand is powered by American energy, which is much cleaner than the energy produced by our competitors like Russia or Venezuela or Saudi Arabia. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are making good on their campaign promises to destroy the oil and gas industry. That's not something to celebrate. If they actually cared about the environment or climate change, they'd work with Congress on serious bipartisan solutions that protect jobs in our economy and our energy independence and our environment all at the same